We are live. Welcome to V Talks. I'm your host, Veronica Brockwell. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. As I have every week, I have an amazing guest. And I know I say this every single week, but it's true because I handpick the people that are on my show that I feel can help you personally and professionally, and that are also near and dear to my heart. And tonight is no different. He is a New York City fashion designer. He is an entrepreneur. He is an amazing friend. He is the founder of Garfield and Mark's clothing, Piece of Cloth, Seasons Jeans, and the new A Garfield line. Please welcome my dear friend, Alex Garfield. Hello. We don't have clapping, right? No.
I can clap for myself.
There we are. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm as good as everybody else in this whatever we're doing, which is
Lockdown.
But
lockdown. But Alex, I love your background. That's pretty cool.
My background is my foreground too.
Yeah, look at that.
If you're talking about my friends, they're still around, and that's why I'm still smiling.
You're all sparkly.
Oh yeah, I set this up for tonight. How about
I know, I love it. It's like the disco.
Well, yeah,
right.
A lot of time in discos.
So, Alex, I usually like to start the show with just talking a little bit about how I know my guest. And I'm actually going to let you explain how we know each other, because I think this is a better topic for you. So how do we know each other?
You talking about Richmond, Virginia?
We are. We got to go back a little ways, though. I don't know what year it was, but it was in the early 2000s, I think, right?
It was a while ago.
Yeah.
I came to Richmond, Virginia it was for Cure by Design.
And what's Cure by Design?
Well, all the men, women, and children models were cancer survivors.
Yeah.
And we celebrated with them, and they would walk up and down the runway, and everybody would look at them and freak out and want to hug and kiss them.
I know. It was amazing. So I chaired that event for 2 years, and it was my job when Alex came into town to
babysit for me.
Right? I entertained you, right? When you were in town. And so we got real close, got to know each other, and it's been just a gift. And I'm so glad that we've stayed in touch all these years, because you're an amazing person.
Well, I don't know all about that.
Yes, you are an amazing person and very impressive. So I'd really like to start out a little bit about, so you're a fashion designer, and you grew up in New York City, and I want to hear what made you choose the fashion industry, because you could have had any sort of career path living in the city, but you chose fashion.
Well, fashion chose me. Actually, the first thing I did if you call it fashion, was in 1967, which was the Summer of Love.
Oh.
Yeah, that was nice. I spent that summer on Fire Island. My nickname is Bugsy. I was with my friend Monkey, and we were 16 years old, and we had a lot of fun on Fire Island. Met a lot of girls, mostly older girls. I mean, 18, 19, and 20, but they helped us to find ourselves, and it was.
And how old were you?
I was 16.
Oh, geez.
We didn't do that much, really.
Yeah.
But you asked me about the fashion and how I got into it. There was a store that was being created and built on Austin Street in Forest Hills, where I grew up, although my rule is if you're not a grown-up by the time you're 30, you don't have to be.
Yeah.
But I was there, and I got hired by this guy, Stanley. The store was called Revelation, and Michelle and Anushka were making hand-tooled belts in the back, and it was just this dynamic, wonderful 1960s thing where we had peace, love, and happiness, black and white together, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And it was just everybody got along. And I helped to go into the city to pick up the jeans and stuff that he sold. There was a store called Different Drummer on Lexington Avenue, which was the first really most groovy boutique. And his friend, Stanley's friend, owned it. And I used to drive his TR6, his Triumph, into the city. I didn't have a license. But I learned how to drive his car, and it was a stick shift. And I brought the jeans back, and it was just so much fun. And the girls didn't use the dressing rooms. They just got undressed right in the store.
Right there, huh?
Well, everything was safe. Nobody, I mean, we loved the way they looked, but nothing happened. And it was just an experience where we just, maybe that's part of what made me believe that just be who you are, and that's who I am. And the girls that used to get undressed in the store are still my friends.
Right.
Yeah.
So you worked for this company, and then when did you branch off into starting your new company? I think you had said it was called Seasons Jeans.
Well, this was 1967.
Okay.
I did that. There were years beyond that, high school years. Crazy stuff happened at high school, and running away from home and all that. But it was like 1970, mid 70s. I was in the clothing business. I worked for different people, and I was a slave, kind of. But I had kind of fun because I had friends in other companies around me. When I worked for other people, I always had lunch with my friends, and I was a good seller, and we had good product. I was really lucky. Wherever I worked, they had good product, and I just connected it with people, and I didn't have to come in on time every morning because I did well during the day when I was there. And we entertained a lot at night, all these different buyers. We had a good time, but it evolved into something where I wanted to be the first of all my friends to get married. And I married Joyce in like 1975. We went to California. I worked for a friend owned a company called A Smile Jeans, Bobby Margolis. He's still around. And he introduced me. He moved to California with his then wife, and I drove out to California with my wife, and he helped us get into the clothing business, introduced us to somebody, and I was a roadman in California with this really funky clothing, and it was a lot of fun.
So what was that brand?
I forgot the name of it.
All right. Yeah.
So American Indian something to do with that. But it was funky stuff. But we were out there, and my wife wanted me to make out with the next door neighbors who were guys, and I freaked out. I didn't. It was quite an experience. I said, let's go back to New York, and we drove back to New York. We ended up staying together for a while. We broke up, and I worked for a party goods store.
Okay.
And my mother came to me, and wait, this was before that. You want me to back up a little bit and tell you what happened before that?
Yeah. I mean, I think, when did you start?
What got me into the clothing business?
When you were actually your first brand.
I worked for a party good shop. Well, let me just back up. My friend Stewie, who was my first roommate. Yeah. I wasn't making enough money, and I was complaining. He said, come into the clothing business. You'll make more money, and you meet a lot of girls. And that was... And I bounced around from job to job to job. And then I got married, moved out, came back. And I worked for a company and another one. And then I got a call and introduced to somebody. And we started something called Seasons Jeans.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's what you're talking about. And
yes, Seasons Jeans.
Yeah. There was a jingle. You want the jingle?
Go ahead. I want to hear the jingle. Go ahead.
If you like your jeans with passion and you want them to fit right, then get the jeans in fashion. All the styles are out of sight. While dancing in the discos or strolling down the street, you'll always be in season with Seasons. If you're passionate about your jeans, then get ready for a love affair with Seasons jeans. They fit right, fade right, and feel good. So no matter what you're doing or what time of the year, you'll always be in season. I got like 5 more of those, but I'm not.
Oh yeah. So was that a wholesale business?
Yeah, Conrad Lung, who I'm still in touch with, approached me I don't even remember how he got in touch with me, but we repped his jeans company and we became partners.
Okay.
Actually, that's a long story later, but 30 years later, we were partners in another business together.
Yeah.
Which is part of the most important reason that you have me here, because of the word consistency.
Yes.
But Seasons Jeans started, and I know you want me to tell you this story.
I do.
I know.
It's pretty cool.
Well, you know, it's
cool.
1978 or 79, like 40 years ago, 41 years, whatever. I got a call. The jeans were doing pretty well. You know, there was Jordache jeans.
Oh, I remember the Jordache. I had a pair.
The Koch brothers, a few other companies. And I got a call and I said, "Hi, my name's Tommy. I have stores upstate, and I heard you have great jeans. I want to buy 100 pair of your 3 best styles."
Yeah.
And I said, 100?
And what was the name of that store?
It was the store upstate?
Yes. That's all right. That's all right.
I don't know if he wants me to tell you, say that.
Okay.
Well, yeah, of course he does. It was called People's Place.
People's Place.
People's Place. I think they had 4 or 5 stores.
Yeah.
And you know, it's really nice. The reason I stopped talking for a minute is because I'm still in touch with whoever I'm going to talk about. Yeah. And it's their 50th year. They're having a big anniversary. Well, they were going to have a big anniversary party. There were a couple of parties months ago that I have pictures of everything I talk about. And this was going to be their 50th thing, and they're trying to put it together. But all those kids are still friends, you know, the people that work together. So we relate to each other in a nice way. Anyway, it's Tommy Hilfiger.
Yeah.
And,
pretty cool. So that was kind of the start of your friendship. That was
our first conversation. I said, "You want to buy 300 pairs of my 3 best jeans? I mean, 100 pairs. Does that mean 33 and a third each? Or do you want 100 of each?" He said, 100 of each. I said, "You're an upstate Irish Catholic boy trusting a New York City Garmento Jewish guy?" He said, "Yeah, Mickey told me. Mickey Dushan had a buying office, and she was like the mother to all of us."
Yeah.
And actually, she was a remarkably important inspiration to all of us about this stuff. And trusting and just ship the right product on time, you know, and do the party and have a good time because of that. And he said, I sent him, he sold them like crazy. He ended up selling or moving out of the stores, moving into the city with his then wife, Susie. And they started 20th Century Survival.
Yep.
When I was doing the Seasons jeans, and then I closed that, and he left there, and we started Click Point together. Did I even tell you that? We had a company.
You did tell me about Click Point. Yeah.
And that went on for a while. It's funny.
So how long were you guys in Click Point together?
Like 2 years, something like 2.5 years, maybe.
And what did you sell at Click Point?
Related separates.
Okay.
Tops that went with bottoms, you know, knits or wovens with just funky, nice, laid back, cozy, nice stuff that we shipped on time, which is.
And did you sell to department stores or boutiques, or
mostly boutiques, but we were in Sears. Is Sears still around?
Yeah.
No. And how about what was the great catalog, one of the first catalogs? I forgot the name. Linda was there and Marla was there. Wow. And I'm in touch with them on Facebook. I'll remember them.
Well, maybe our producer can find that out for us.
They were out of Chicago.
It was the first catalog, like
no, we just saw them. I just remember them because they were so nice. They came into the showroom.
Was it the 70s?
It was late 70s.
Late 70s catalog.
My friend Miles, I had lunch with my friend Miles the other day, who owned a restaurant called Luigi Siegel's on 37th Street.
Yeah.
And he used to send us lunch to Tommy and Daryl. And Tommy hooked me up with Daryl. He tricked me into meeting who was going to be my wife at the time,
Yeah.
but he used to send us sandwiches for lunch because we didn't have any money. And
Yeah.
I saw my
You were trying to keep your business going.
well, we
It's tough in the beginning, right?
worked for a guy that ended up, we shipped a lot of product. The guy owed us a lot of money, and he wouldn't pay us, so we left. But Tommy had this guy that coached him, that was a person, we all need magical people, especially when we've got magic.
Yeah.
And Tommy had magic, and I had some magic too. I survived, but Tommy did, he listened better than I did to advice that came from people who were better than the advisors that I had. And he did okay.
Don't sell yourself short, because you have
I've done okay.
a career as well.
I'm not unhappy.
You just went in a different direction. I think you did quite well.
I've done okay. But I'm just looking at, Tommy, what's the most important thing about Tommy and me, I think, is that we're the same person that we were 50 or 60 years ago.
Yeah. Well, you guys have done a lot of projects together and stayed close throughout. It's really a beautiful friendship. It really is.
Yeah. But he's who he is, and he's a sweetheart. He's a good boy. He was in touch. He's been in touch with my son. Liam was going to work. I didn't forget Liam's name.
I gotcha. I didn't forget.
Liam was going to work for Tommy.
And Lester.
I got Lester and Coco.
Yeah, your other children.
Yeah. We went to heaven a year ago. But anyway, Liam was going to work for Tommy, but this COVID thing happened, and it just, New York City's closed.
So, Alex, at what point did you start your company, Garfield and Marks? And tell us about that, because a lot of people might not know what it is, because it was more of a niche business.
What's interesting, I told you a few minutes ago, the guy at Seasons Jeans and we were in business in the 70s, late 70s, and I said we were in business again later. In 1989, I think, Conrad called and said, I have a silk business, and Chinese guy. And he was the first person I went to Hong Kong with, as a matter of fact, in 1978, when we had Seasons Jeans.
Right, because you imported those.
Yeah, they were all from Hong Kong.
You didn't make them in New York, right?
Made in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And Conrad hired me to be his partner at his silk company.
Yeah.
And it was remarkable what happened there. It was so easy. And what was your question about this?
I just wanted to know when you started Garfield and Marks.
Oh, well, the silk company.
It was soon after that, right?
Well, Anna and Frank was a silk company that I worked for.
Anna, who was it?
Anna and Frank.
I remember Anna and Frank.
It was silk blouses.
Yes, absolutely. They were sold in department stores.
Big time. Really,
Tallheimers had Anna and Frank.
Tallheimers had a lot of them. We sold them to everybody.
Tallheimers was a department store that I worked for when I first got out of school. So and they also carried the Garfield and Marks brand. So
but it's funny that Anna and Frank were there. But Anna and Frank, Sunex was the name of the company. Anna and Frank, I'm in touch with Frank Lau, as a matter of fact. He might be watching this. He lives in Hong Kong. He had the factories there. Wow. Anna and Frank was a label that we put on the silk blouses that we shipped everywhere.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't know your affiliation with that.
That was us.
I learned something. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That went on. Anna and Frank started in 1989, 1991, 2. Daryl, my wife before my son's mother, she's still one of my best friends.
Yeah.
She's probably watching. Hi, Daryl.
Hi, Daryl.
We broke up. We lived on the Upper West Side in the Sheffield, and I moved up to 2 miles north of where I am right now. I rented a house on the Hudson River, had a little swimming pool and stuff, a lot of parties. It was fantastic. In 1993, I moved up in 1991. Daryl and I broke up. In 93, Bernie Marks, who I actually worked for, Laurel Wayne's dad, when I had Seasons Jeans, we rented a space from her father. He had a fabric company on Broadway.
In the garment district.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Holy mackerel. We rented a room from him for Seasons Jeans when we first started. Isn't that wild? But Bernie was a friend of Daryl's dad's, who he introduced me. I worked for him for a little while, but it didn't work out. It was called Joseph Bernard was the name of the company. Do you know?
Yes. Oh, sure.
Joe Vitrano, Bernie's partner, had a cutting room, 520 8th Avenue.
Right.
Holy mackerel. That's a long time ago. 1978, 9, 8. Whoa. Anyway, I worked with Conrad, and Bernie stayed with me. He broke up with his girlfriend at the time. He had a wife who he ended up with again, but he had a girlfriend. They broke up. As a matter of fact, he had a clothing company with his girlfriend then. Oh my goodness. And Bernie needed a place to stay. I gave him a bedroom in the house that I had up here, 2 miles up the road from here. And we talked about starting a business together. And I was doing well already with my silk thing with Sunex and Anna and Frank. And I said, okay, let's start it, and I was going to put up all the money. And I said, what do we call it? And we went through a whole lot of stuff and came up with a lot of different names. And he said, let's call it Marks and Garfield.
And you're like, no.
I'm putting up the money. It's going to be Garfield.
That's right. That's right, buddy.
It was really fun.
That's right.
And we went back to sleep or something. And like the next day or next week, we started the business. But it was all about Bernie. He was the businessman. And I trusted him. And
well, I just remember I always associated the brand with quality. Those suits were so well made. And what were some of the department stores you were in? Your main account was Nordstrom, right?
Well, we were vendor of the year for Nordstrom.
Yeah.
But that was great. But we were in stores all over the country and
you were in Tallheimers, I remember that. And you were in Hex.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
Marshall Fields.
Yep. So you were in all the heavy hitters.
We did not sell Bloomingdale's.
What was that?
We did not sell to Bloomingdale's.
And is there a reason why?
Which was probably okay. Well, Upper East.
Was there a story? Is there some dirt?
We did a lot of department stores, local department stores around the country. Mm-hmm. And I did these personal appearance things.
Yeah.
And I never looked at myself as a designer. I'm not a designer. I give ideas. I see things. I go shopping. I see something or see something.
You're kind of a designer.
I help put things together. I have an eye or something,
Yeah, you do.
That's what they say.
You might not sketch it out on paper in the proper way.
But I work well with designers who put stuff together. And as a matter of fact, putting my new thing together, if I can jump like years and years ahead, but bring me back when you want. We had a meeting with the designer, my business partner, me, and Gregor, who has had a buying office for like 50 years in the garment center. So she knows. She has seen everything. And with the 4 of us were in a room, Teddy was watching, and Gregor and Paul and I were it seemed like a wild, confrontational, argumentative thing and conversation. But what it was we built this thing together and we put this collection together, which ended up great. But the most important part is that while we were arguing and we were we were conversing, but hello. And we were wild. This is a very important thing. We seemed like we were having a terrible argument, but we kept it going for a few hours and something really wonderful came out of it. And we look at each other and said, that's what we do together. And it really works when people have something that they know they have to offer to a combined group of people to make things happen. Something good comes out of it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Wow. I never even said that before.
Yeah. So you had Garfield and Marks, and you obviously got out of that business.
Well, what Garfield and Marks, it was 1993 we started. In years later, a lot of years, 7 or 8 years later, and there was a lot of in-between stuff. A lot of stuff happened.
Yeah.
But 7 or 8 years later, we sold the business, and not long after that, and we did well. But I had somebody who was like my advisor, this is important for people if anybody's watching this, but this is what my son knows and his friends know. I trusted somebody that I shouldn't have trusted. And it's funny because I have Daryl in my life, who was my wife before my son's mother. She's probably my best friend, certainly one of my best friends. She has always been on my back about stop trusting everybody. And that's,
and you don't want to be that person. You want to trust people. You really do.
Anybody could like shit on me and I'll say, oh, that was okay. Oops, you didn't mean to do that or something. But
no, I can relate. You and I, we talk about this a lot, that we the two of us are very similar in that way, and so we tend to, we're all in a relationship, right? And so we just can't even imagine.
We're all in life.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough because we love with everything, and so when we get betrayed on different things, it gets a little tough. But a lot of times, it really doesn't have anything to do with you. It's about that person and what they're needing at that time.
It's all about us and that person and everybody we meet and the gratitude we share, or the affection that we have for the person that we think is going to help us and doesn't. But we know before that also, which is important. Let me go back to something. Tommy had this guy that probably the most, I haven't talked to him about this. Probably the most important thing I think he's ever had, besides his family and his mom, who was magical. But this guy was remarkable. I didn't have that. And I had this, I limped through a lot of stuff because growing up, if you want me to talk about that stuff, I will. But we need to be able to trust ourselves. And very important, we have to, no successful person has not failed, and failures, help you.
That's where the growth happens. Well, right? That's how you learn.
Well, you can't succeid.
Yeah, you can't.
Or you can't appreciate it.
You can't. Yeah, you can't learn. That's how you learn. Or you hope you learn.
And you know what else is very important? This is one of the most important things in the world, and you just reminded me of it.
Okay.
Because I ran out of things to say just now, and I felt very comfortable enough. Well, I felt comfortable.
We're on the same show.
And as you're interrupting me,
sorry, you told me.
Hold on a second. I am so welcoming it because I ran out of something to say, and you picked it up. Girls, did I ever tell you what George Carlin said? Women are crazy and men are stupid, and the reason women are crazy is because men are stupid. That works a lot. But the most important part about what I was going to say, I want to impress everybody and say this.
Okay. I'm going to impress you guys.
No, I stopped. You didn't interrupt me. I just had nothing more to say, but you picked it up and you smile and you talk. Boys need girls.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I know. So,
No, that's a big deal.
yeah.
How about this? You see all these sexual things and all this stuff from years ago going on with people, guys goosing girls or whatever. Some of the guys should not have gotten in trouble because the girls probably said, "Come goose me,"
Yeah,
or
well,
whatever it was.
probably, yeah, and
But
that,
I'm still friends. I reconnect with the girls that worked for different companies, and I'm just thinking about Missy and Melissa right now, and that's from the mid '90s, early '90s. My girls I met in Colorado. One of them worked for me, and but the thing is, I never did that stuff enough. With all these girls, still like me. It's
yeah,
it's my friends, my friend.
yeah. Well, you're likable. So,
Well,
so
as long as I take it at a distance.
yeah, so and then we're going to talk about, you had another company called Piece of Cloth.
Oh.
Tell me about Piece of Cloth. That was women's clothing. Yeah.
Piece of Cloth was good.
Yeah. I like the name. Piece
of Cloth. Well, I had to argue. I had a battle to get that.
Now, Piece of Cloth is a little bit, that was in the 2000s, right? That was a little bit.
2008, 9.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
6, I don't know, somewhere around there.
And that was based in Manhattan, wholesale manufacturing.
Well, yeah. With the same factory that Garfield and Marx made. You know?
Okay, so it was made in the garment district.
We started making stuff elsewhere too, but
yeah,
that was a company that I had somebody. This is a lesson. I had somebody that I was working with who wanted to be my wife for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And I took a drug for a few years called Klonopin. I didn't tell you about this.
Probably not, no.
So, because as a matter of fact, it's this person who I worked with that suggested go to a psychiatrist because my son was moving out of the city, and I was, she thought you're going to be depressed. I ended up driving back and forth to Rochester for 11 years or something, every other weekend to be with him. So it was great. Right. It was like a vacation every other weekend for me. But we started this. I was on this thing to settle me down, and it puts you in some kind of other planet. And it makes you numb, and people around you. Like that. People, it was interesting because I don't know if they knew that. I don't know how sophisticated they were to know that they could have anything they asked me for. But I had people around me like sucking stuff out of me, and
that's a terrible thing. I'm sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, it didn't work. But I'm a good coach for people now who think about taking one of those drugs and stuff, and I help them not do it because I've been there, done that. But we started Piece of Cloth.
Yeah.
And it did okay. I wanted to make jeans.
Well, I think they're still around, right? You sold to them.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't sell it to them. They ripped me off for $5 million.
Yeah.
Bad story.
We don't need to talk about that. Oh, anyway, yeah. So we won't talk about Piece of Cloth.
How about this?
There might be another word we'll replace cloth with.
Anybody
There's laughing. She's like, what?
You gotta laugh.
What?
You can't laugh at your life. You shouldn't be here.
That's good. So I read an article.
From
Don't
believe everything you read.
Yeah, I know. The Huffington Post wrote an article about you, and they called you the magical master connector. And I believe they were referring to you because of all your charitable work and all of the people that you put together to make good things happen. And I'd really like to share with everyone, we've kind of gone through your career, which has been absolutely phenomenal. And to be honest, you downplay it because you are incredibly successful. You've done amazing things. You're so humble.
No,
but the thing that you have done that to me is the most impactful is your work with these organizations. And I personally got to see it firsthand with Cure by Design when I would take care of you, when I would take care of you when you would come into town.
Well,
when I shared that. So yeah, so that was something that was a charity that you founded, and you partnered with the American Cancer Society. And we touched on it a little bit before, but I have to say it was brilliant. It was so good for the community. Not only did we involve, we involved the cancer survivors, and it was a fashion show, but we actually had the entire community on board. We involved every single fashion merchant, really huge. Do you want to? I'm just going on and on about it because I was so excited.
No, I love listening.
Talk a little bit more about it.
Well, Richmond was one of my favorite places to go to.
Well, yeah, we were fun down there
for a lot of years.
We were
8 or 9 years there or something.
Yeah, I know. I'm hoping some of your Richmond people are watching. Actually,
you have Richmond people watching us?
I'm sure they're going to watch, or they'll watch it later. I hope so.
Am I in trouble?
I don't know.
I'll tell you, it was remarkable there, and going to Richmond, it seemed like it injected energy into me to want to do it elsewhere, and we ended up springing from Richmond to like 10 or 12, 15, a bunch of other cities around the country.
Yeah.
But I always came back to Richmond, and Connor's Heroes is in Richmond, and we were involved there. And Connor had cancer, and I think 10 years later, he's in the Merchant Marines now.
Yeah.
It
was incredible, and I think there's a video link that Tommy Hilfiger was involved in that as well, right?
There's a few with the Connor's Heroes stuff.
With the Connor Heroes.
Well, that's another thing with Tommy, because he is who he is, and I like to compliment. Well, I'm just doing this for TV now. I compliment myself. I'm saying to compare us, and I'm like him too, and that's why we're friends and why we respect each other. And we've done a lot of really sweetly wonderful stuff. He's done his other stuff, and I've done some other stuff. But it's been a really fun ride with him. And there's a lot of videos of the two of us because he's like this famous dude, so everybody wants to shoot us, and I've become famous for that.
Yeah, he's pretty famous,
and he's a good man.
So another charity that you have done so much with is Dress for Success. And for those of you that don't know what that is, Alex, could you talk a little bit about that organization?
Thank you for letting me do this. I hope there's a lot of people listening.
I've got on the ticker, because we're so fancy here, I have on the ticker the websites. So if anyone's interested in these charities, they can go and learn more about it.
What's the ticker? Oh yeah, there it is.
You see, we're fancy here. We're fancy here at the V Talks at the V meeting.
Wow.
In my living room because of COVID.
You wanted me to talk about Dress for Success?
I do. I think it's a wonderful organization. They do so much.
Crazy wonderful.
Yeah.
What they call it, Mother Earth, for a reason. And this is all about women. It's the beginning about women along the ride. Dress for Success was started, I think, in 1998. As a matter of fact, Tommy came to we had a deal in 1999 or 2000 at Avery Fisher Hall at Lincoln Center. We honored John Fleming, who I talked to the other day. John was a dear friend who worked at Dayton Hudson Marshall Fields. Yeah. He was the CEO or something like that for online stuff for Walmart for a little while.
Yeah.
I visited him down there twice.
So Dress for Success was an organization.
But how I was introduced was at an an event where they were honoring John Fleming, and Tommy was standing next to me at this event at Avery Fisher Hall that I put together for this anti-violent inner-city youth group of kids that performed for. That was remarkable. But we were standing in the audience, and somebody came over to me and said, "You got to meet my niece. She has this. She's working for something called Dress for Success. She has a thing in New Jersey." And I said, "Tommy, should I become involved in this?" And Tommy said, "Well, yeah, of course. That's right up your alley." Tommy said, "Go do that." I got involved with that, and this was 20-something years later. Joy Gordon, who has been the head of that and a monster of making it happen. I think 140 something countries around the world, and they've served 1 million something women, which means 2 million of their kids.
Yeah.
The logo is Suits to Self-Sufficiency, but it's a lot more than just the clothing. The women who are in trouble come there and they get engaged at Dress for Success in 140, maybe 160 countries by now, but all over the United States of America.
It's an incredible organization. It really is.
And they come and they talk to the people in the offices around the country and around the world. But I've been in a lot of the offices around the country. And what happens is they just, the women that come in, they might be homeless or otherwise. They come in, they get a suit, they get coached, and the most important thing, besides beyond the clothing, is the coaching that they get.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, they do. Yeah,
Suits to self-sufficiency.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And it's got to feel so good to work with them. And the other organization,
I can't wait to reopen my company again because Joy and I are in touch, and she knows I'm coming back.
Oh yeah. As soon as we come off of this, everything will start to chip away and get back to normal. And hopefully it will be sooner rather than later. So we can get back to business with organizations like this.
Let's do a lot of this.
We will, because you're single and you're looking, right? Didn't you tell me? So we're going to have to.
I'm not actually looking.
We're not looking. Oh, I thought you said
responsibility. It would be. What am I going to find if I find?
So if anyone wants to meet Alex, please message on the comment section. Send your resume over.
It would be nice to fall in love again.
Yeah, he wants to fall in love again, guys. Okay, so the next charity I want to talk about is the Council for Unity. And this is definitely something that I want you to talk about that maybe not a whole lot of people know what it is.
Because of Cure by Design, the American Cancer Society, a friend of mine who I went to junior high school with, Russell Sage in Forest Hills, became a teacher at Forest Hills High School.
Yeah.
The weekend before the breast cancer march in Flushing Meadows Park, she called me and wanted me to come talk to a class about cancer. And so they could be a little bit more prepared, maybe, because she knew that I was doing what I was doing. And I walked into the school. I hadn't been there. I never graduated high school.
Right.
I got my diploma. Do you know how I got my diploma? When I was principal for a day.
Yeah, you told me.
Yeah. And how about, if I may, for a minute, today or yesterday, pictures from 5 or 6 years ago, whenever that happened, came back up on Facebook of me getting my diploma and all this stuff, and I reposted them on Facebook today or yesterday. It's funny how we're talking about this, and it happened 5 years ago to the day or 6 years ago.
There are no accidents.
I came into the school. When I walked into the school, I'm terminally nostalgic. My mother, well, then she was 91 or 2. She's going to be 97. She still lives in Forest Hills. I had my dogs. I dropped them off with her because she loves my dogs. And I came to the school, and I started walking in, and there were police, guards, bad police at the front, taking your ID. That was new for me. But I talked to them, and after talking for a minute, they said, just go ahead. That's how I used to get into clubs when I was in my teens. Just talk to them.
Not to digress, but you actually had a club story, didn't you?
Oh, we'll talk about a club story. You mean Studio 54? Yeah. Well, we can talk about that in a minute.
We'll come back to that.
It is.
This might be worth waiting for.
It's fun.
Oh, yeah.
What was I just talking about?
You were talking about Council for Unity.
Oh, so I walked into the school, and the police were going, blah, 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 and I just talked to them, and I did blah, 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 and they looked at me like, just go. It was like not a dismissive thing. It was that they trusted me because I was goofy and nice. But they gave me somebody to walk me through the hallway to the class. And going through the hallway, there were black, white, pink, purple, yellow, blue, and orange people walking. When I was there were the 15 or 16 black kids that they started busing when I was in the 5th grade, and they bused them into PS 99, my school. Gregory and Olivia, and we became friends because we loved to cook together with my housekeeper, but they came over all the time. They were from Jamaica. They came to Kew Gardens, and my only problem was something that ended up to be great. They made me a better athlete because they were better athletes than us white dudes, and we're still friends. Some of them are still my friends. Oh my goodness. Where was I?
And we have, if you want to learn more about the Council for Unity too, we have
I walked through the Forest Hills High School. Thanks for trying to save me. I walked through the hallway, and I walked into.
I don't think you need saving, Alex.
I guess I do. You don't know me well enough then. Okay. We walked into the classroom, and the people who walked me just pushed me in. I went in, and the kids were climbing the walls. And what am I going to talk about? I was there to talk about something about breast cancer. And the teacher, who has hair down to here and a beard, came over. I was a hippie guy. And he put his arms on my shoulders. He said, you okay? I said, what do I do? What do I talk about? The buzzer rang. He said, just go talk. And I started talking about cancer. And all of a sudden, I saw kids were like, there were peace signs and stuff. And the classroom was decorated with paintings all over the place about the 60s. And I backed off, and I started just talking about peace, love, and happiness. And the kids were all beyond black, white together. It was black, yellow, pink, blue, orange, and yellow together. And we had conversations. And the most fun and the deepest feelings I have is when I go and talk to these kids. We do Zoom things now, but like seeing them and hugging them and them telling me how much they love my patchouli that I wear and stuff.
Yes.
And
you like your patchouli. Yes.
But I talk to them about peace, love, and happiness, and they have it still there. They don't have the desks that all of our names were carved into. But it's remarkable. I was principal for a day there 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And the rule was there are no rules that day. And everybody was allowed to walk anywhere without passes.
Oh,
it was great.
It's so terrific. It's a terrific organization. It really is. Please, if
you
get a chance, please go to the councilforunity.com and check that out.
Council, I know you're trying to get me off this because
we have another charity to talk about.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
Council was started.
There are no rules here. We don't have commercials.
My life. Council was started 46 years ago to get the Bloods and the Crips.
I'm looking at it right now.
Huh? No, to get the Bloods and the Crips to stop killing each other. It was stop the gang instead of stop the gang and stop. It was love each other, and that's what they've done. It's a magical thing, and the people who started it 46 years ago are still involved with it.
Yeah, it's terrific. Please visit the website and check it out because it's a really fabulous organization here. I'm looking at it right now. And the next one I want to talk about. You ready? I'm going to click it up.
Am I too passionate?
No, I think it's wonderful.
Okay.
It's wonderful. Okay, what is on the ticker, Alex?
I don't know. What are you going to mention?
It's up there already. What's on the ticker? What's it say?
V talks with
Under.
Share. You're talking about Jeannie now. And
sure, yes. Yeah, share the project.
This is something that's unbelievably crazy. And you're going to talk to Jeannie. You got.
I am. I was going to talk to Jeannie because we might have her on the show.
You got to.
No, I know. I'd like to. I'd like to.
She will talk way more eloquently than I do.
You know, we're watching you because we love you.
Okay. I'm not demeaning myself. I'm just saying you're going to look out for her.
Yes. I'm going to reach out to her probably tomorrow. I don't know if she's watching right now, but we'll learn. I'm going to learn
she
more
could be
about
watching us now.
She could be.
Wait a second. People are watching us?
Yes, and we shared it. We actually shared it to your Facebook page as well. So in case anyone had any difficulty logging on to my page, so it's on your page. It's on my page. It's on my business page.
People. Well, you'll explain it to me tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. You were thinking it was like a Zoom, and I was trying to explain to you that it's live. Like it just shows up, and you're like, "Well, I need login." I'm like, "No, it just shows up."
You look terrific, by the way. What was I saying before I interrupted myself?
Well, we were talking about Share the Project and Jeannie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Could I tell you? I met Jeannie.
So can you tell us about Share the Project and what it is?
That's what I just started to do.
Oh, okay.
I met Jeannie because one of my friend's daughters, kid I grew up with in Forest Hills. Wow. Marty and Jen's daughter was her classmate at Hastings High School. And I don't remember why Marty and Jennifer reached out to me, but they knew I was involved with something charitable, and they introduced me to Jeannie. And this Project Share thing started. Well, today it's like 33 years ago. Mm-hmm. I met Jeannie 20 something years ago. Holy mackerel.
Well, I'm on the website right now, and the quote says, "Never doubt that a small group of citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has."
Well, who said that? It had
Dr. Margaret Mead.
Right. No, it's remarkable. And Jeannie you are going to freak out. I mean, I'm a lunatic on this thing that we're doing now, but Jeannie is so coherent and polysyllabic too. Maybe not as polysyllabic. She's from Hastings.
Yes.
Something. You're going to freak out when you have her.
So the charity provides opportunities for high school.
May I tell you what it is?
Sure, you go ahead.
And I want to tell you also about Jeannie's my time with Diyal Singh Khalsa after 9/11. But
we'll talk about that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Whoa. Wow, I've known Jeannie for a long time.
Yes.
And something really important, I have a lot of pictures because I carried a camera. I've been a pain in the ass for 50 something years with my camera. And when I hesitate, when I'm talking and when I back off a little bit, sometimes I'm thinking about the pictures that I see because I always look at the pictures from 30, 40, 50 years ago that I still have. And now they're all, they're on my computer now. So it's really sweet. But Project Share, when I first met her through my friend's daughter, I went on a couple of midnight runs with them. And midnight run, I also met her before that, but the midnight run that they do is a drive through Manhattan with kids from Hastings, high school.
Right.
The Midnight Run might have other kids from elsewhere too, but they converge and they go through Manhattan. The parents or teachers drive the cars and trucks and they meet up with homeless. It's not just feeding the homeless. It's stopping. The homeless know where they are, where they're coming to. And the kids get out and the parents get out, but they engage.
Right.
They're not giving the pajamas and underwear and socks and clothing and food. The people who they engage with, the homeless people, put that aside because they want to engage first, which is probably the most important thing they do, is to engage and to have conversations. And I mean, years and years later, watching Jeannie, and I don't go on many midnight runs. I haven't been in one for a few years, but watching Jeannie get out and some of the kids, because they're only in the high school for a few years, but Jeannie, some of the parents are there. They hug and engage. They have conversations with the people who are still homeless, and we shouldn't have that. But whatever it is, maybe we can fix it. But it's remarkable. And one of the things that is even more remarkable, because I'm not allowed to take pictures, and we shouldn't take pictures of their midnight runs, but every Tuesday before Thanksgiving, I've been going for 15, 18 years. I don't know, a lot of years. Holy shit. And I have a lot of pictures of all I'm talking about, but they bus the homeless from different areas up to Hastings High School, and the kids and their parents and other people. I just got a text from somebody.
Sure.
No, wait, it showed up on my laptop here.
Yeah, so it's live.
It was Miles. He said,
we're just chatting.
Did you see that? Did you see that?
I didn't see your text.
Okay.
Thank goodness.
No, it said she's cute. So that's you.
Oh,
that's nice. You are cute.
That's nice. Yeah.
Obviously,
is this someone I know?
No, it's a friend of mine that I've known forever.
Oh,
that's nice.
Oh, well,
Let me tell you about the Hastings thing, which is, let me tell you, this whole thing. I was just going to say how emotional I feel, but if I back up to what I was talking about before, when I go to council classes or some council events, but primarily council for unity classes, or when I've been in some of the not Dress for Success events, but in where they clothe their women and Cure by Design stuff and Connor's Hero stuff, to be there backstage is much. It's remarkable, much better than being on the fucking stage. Not that I'm afraid of being on the stage, but being backstage with all these people and doing all this stuff is
it's we talked about that earlier.
What was I saying?
The giving back is there's nothing like it.
Well, hold on, there's an expression, and hey, Tommy, if you're watching, giving back is always in style.
Hi, Tommy.
Giving back is always in style, and I believe that I invented that phrase, but Tommy used it later. Maybe he invented it, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I was talking about council.
Yes. No. Council or share the project?
Oh, share.
We were on share.
Oh, hold on. The craziest.
Yes.
The craziest, and it's crazy because there's 1,000 homeless guests. I don't want to call them homeless. We got to do something about that. And when they have their homeless, they're going to invite us over to party with them. Holy shit, that's going to happen. That's going to happen. But these people, over 1,000 for the past 5 or 6 years, have come up, that bust up to Hastings High School, and all the kids serve them. And that's Project Share.
Yeah.
Council for Unity kids. I was calling them council just now?
No, well, yeah, we're back on we're on
Project
Share.
Share up in Hastings
Yeah.
serves 1,000 homeless. But we got the Council for Unity kids from Forest Hills High School who have been coming up there for the past few years too.
Yeah.
Part of that.
Yeah.
What we got to do is just connect it all.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's why you are you are the master.
Right.
Yeah, you're the master connector for
It's
sure, because you know everyone.
All you have to do is introduce people to people that share the same kind of feelings.
So, Alex, let me ask you, if you wanted to give 3 pieces of advice, I always ask people this at the end of the show. If you wanted to give people 3 pieces of advice in life, in business.
Well, hold on. I got 2. I got 2. The most important word to me, the most important thing we ought to be is consistent.
Yes.
Consistency. You can't rely on anything that's not consistent, and you rely on something that's consistent.
Right.
I am not the brightest bulb in the box. I'm not the most successful guy that's happened.
Oh, I think you're pretty bright.
I'm just saying, and I'm insecure, just like a lot of guys.
Well,
But my insecurities are overcome because I smile and I feel good. And I'm not that insecure, okay? I just want to relate with everybody, because guys who think they're insecure, you're less insecure than you think you are, or something. I learned something about during this COVID thing. I think I might have told you this, that smile. If you smile, you say, holy shit, I'm happy. No, but it's not
true. It's true. It's psychological. It's like and it's a physical thing too. I mean, I think it triggers something when you smile. It makes you happy.
Trigger. See, that's why we need girls, man. Yeah. Thank you. You're right. Triggers. That's what the words we use.
It's a trigger. Sure. So we smile. We're consistent. 3rd one. One more. You can do it, buddy.
Okay.
I think we'll have to have you on as a guest again, because there's so many more things we have to talk about, but we're in an hour.
You got to appreciate.
I love it.
If somebody does something for you, you've got to show them that you appreciate, so that they'll do more for other people.
Yeah.
It just confirms something in our brains. So consistency, appreciation, and how about this? In order to
now we have 4.
No, in order to, this is number 3.
Okay.
Consistency, appreciation. What's the 3rd?
You said smiling.
Oh, smiling. I've been brushing my teeth with this stuff. How come your teeth are so white?
I know, right?
Holy
I'll tell everyone my secret. I'll tell everyone.
I forgot.
Crust white strips.
You put stuff on your teeth?
They're crust glamour weight strips. You get them at CVS. I put them on like once a week. I just put them on for 30 minutes. Takes the look.
Holy shit.
Right?
Yeah.
I haven't done it in a couple
weeks. Will you text me
either.
that, please? Text me that, because I'm not.
Yeah, I got you.
Are you going to remember to text
you,
me,
Alex? Don't you worry about it.
All right. Let me tell you the 3rd thing.
Okay, 3rd thing.
Which is something that might have been the first thing when we were talking about all this stuff before.
Okay.
And it's something I happened to tell my son today.
Okay. Liam.
Which is the most important just remember what I was going to say. What were we talking about?
Advice that you want to give. 3 pieces of advice you would give someone.
Just remember that's what we're talking about. Let me write a note. The best thing that ever happened to me is my son.
Yeah.
At first, because I know that our kids become us.
Yeah.
And it made me a better person. And the best advice I ever got was from my son, who, when I said, I want to fall in love again, he said, just get a dog, Daddy.
And
we could do a whole program about why kids, if we pay attention and we do what we ought to do, make us better.
Yeah.
The 3rd thing is, in order to succeed, you have to fail.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We talked about that earlier.
That's a
And
big-
why is that?
Because you have to appreciate, and you have to be consistent, and you have to do the other things that we're talking about that are the most important things that we have to do. They're all combined.
And it's how we learn. It's how we learn.
How we learn. If we're paying attention or not, we can still absorb. Wow, never said that before.
So when Liam was learning how to walk, didn't you let him fall so he could get back up?
Hold
He
on.
had to learn, right? He'd try to take a few steps, he'd fall. He'd push himself back up, right?
I've got a lot of stories otherwise about this.
Yeah. But I think what we'll do, because I think we could talk forever, and I think we're going to have you back. And I was also, maybe we'll have you back as well when we have Share the Project on. That might be fun.
It might be.
We could import you. We could do
important
multiple, you know.
When you have Share the Project, Jeannie on.
Yep, Jeannie.
Hi,
Jeannie, if you're there.
She's here?
I don't know.
Okay, let me tell you. Jeannie, if people have to just shut the fuck up and listen, because she has so much to say, and she says it. You know, she's very bright. You got to listen to her. She makes so much sense, and Project Share, it's remarkable because we're all the same people, and you just listen to her. I mean,
I know. I'm looking forward to meeting her.
Huh?
I'm looking forward to meeting her.
She's on a much different level than me. She's not that she's more sophisticated than me, because I might have been to more Broadway shows than her, but she is like certainly she's more brainiac than I am. She describes things in a different way.
So Alex, I will say that this has been a remarkable interview. I thank you for being so real.
Did I do okay?
Yes, we're still live though. So don't, you know. Yeah. We've been on an hour and 7 minutes. That's the longest. Usually it's like 35, 45 minutes. We have a lot to talk about still, but we'll have you on again, because there's so many things I want to talk to you about. You've got great stories and things that, you know, that we can talk about. But I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to be on my little show that's on the Facebook Live. You finally done one now, right? You've done that.
We're still on, and people.
Yeah, they're watching. Yeah. I think they might be dwindling now. I don't know, but they're still watching.
Hey, I keep asking you, how's my hair?
I know. But thank you. Thank you so much. You are an incredible person. You've done amazing work. You are the magical connector. I look forward to your next project. As soon as COVID is over, I'll have you back on to talk about your new line that you're planning on launching.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, I know, but we have to, and you can bring us up to speed on all of the charities and
expose people's goodness. That's what you seem to do, and
that's what we do here. All right, my dear, I am going to end the broadcast, but we can keep talking. But I'm going to end the broadcast because it is 8:08.
I want to talk to you. Keep us on.
I will keep us on. I will get a cocktail. I will keep us on.
Cocktail, ginger ale, 5 cents a glass. If you don't like it, I'll shove it up your ass. Okay. Bottle of shit right between the eye and
But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and continuing to come and visit us on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock and meet my friends and these amazing people. And we will see you next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. for VTalks. Bye-bye.